Hi, guys. Hey. How are you? Turn on. Maybe we don't need a light. This is fine. This is light enough. It's dark here. Hold on. I will be right back in 1 second. All right, I'm back. You're like, where's Christy? One of her children is going to take over the computer. That would definitely happen. There's one right there. I was just making you guys something really cool. It's a cheat sheet. It's by highly requested, highly demanded. It's like something you can bookmark on your computer. It's going to have a bunch of links like the Zoom call link and how to log into your materials and how to contact Brooke and downloads that you might be like, where's that download? It'll all be in just one page. You can look. It'll kind of be like a bulletin board or something. You can think of it like that. Just you'll be able to reference it. So it is almost done and you guys will have it tomorrow, actually. And so I'm excited to get that to you. Sweet. All right. Well, let's get to it. Quick announcement. This week, we're doing a live training on all or nothing. And so if you have not registered, sign up. You probably got an email about it. It's Wednesday at 4 Pacific time. If you want the replay, then you've got to register so that I can send you the replay, but I'd love to have you there live. It's always open to the public. So this is a, invite a friend kind of thing. We always talk about coaching at the end. And so if it's somebody you think is interested, then they'll have the opportunity to hear about it. But the majority of the training is going to be about how to get rid of all or nothing mindset. And how all or nothing mindset actually impacts our goals, specifically weight loss goals. And so I'm going to give you some strategies on how to get out of that place. And so that is Wednesday. So don't forget to register. And then announcement number 2, I just told you, which is that I've got a really cool page for everybody to save really soon. Tomorrow I'll send that out to everybody. And it also has how to get text reminders. It's got everything you could need all on one page, at least the links to it. So watch for that tomorrow. And I think that's it for announcements. And so we're going to get to it. Let me just tell my child real quick to go somewhere else. He has not been in the kitchen at all until we started this. And he's like, okay, now's a perfect time to turn everything on and put Office on in the background. So that's what he's been doing. So it's like, hold on one moment. So this week we are, each week that we do these Fitme family meetings, the idea is to give you some intention for the week. Something that, regardless of what your goals are, because everybody has different goals, something that is sort of connected us together that you can apply to your week. And obviously you're going to take whatever today's prompt is and you're going to reach out to your coach either tonight or tomorrow and give them some sort of answer to what this is, even if you don't know the answer. So I've had a couple people say I got the prompt, but I don't know the answer. That's okay. Still reach out to your coach anyway and tell them I don't know the answer to this question, because that's where we can have a really good conversation and help you. The topic for tonight is about saying no and saying yes. Oftentimes when someone starts something, and probably you all felt this in different ways, is we're used to thinking okay, where is my list of restrictions? I'm here for the goals. So give me the can and can't do's, right? And one thing that's different about Fitme is we don't have we don't have a meal plan. We don't have this is what everybody is doing. We have these boundaries, these guidelines, avoiding fast food and trying not to drink our calories and eating Fitme plates and stocking our house with good stuff. But those are more like boundaries. They're not like, I don't know, I guess you could call them rules, but they're sort of up in the air how they apply to you, right? Well, what's processed junk? That's a good question. What's movement for you? For some people, it's going to be going to run 5 miles. For other people, it might just be going for a short walk. So there's not these like defined things that you find in other places, because what we do is for your real life. But the key is, it's not that there's no defined things. It's that you are defining them. That is what makes this work. Instead of Christy Campbell or your coach saying yes or no, we're asking you, well, how can we make this better? Or how can we improve this plate? Or how can we get you moving more? Or how can we get you closer to your goal? And then we're able to give you feedback to help you make decisions so that you can do that and then apply it to your real life. But the key question as you are trying to define things and create these habits and routines in your life is, if I say yes to this, what am I saying no to? That is my favorite question, because it helps us create our own boundaries and guidelines. And it also helps us define the quote cost of choosing something else. So say, for example, you say that you are going to, I don't know, you're going to go on a 2-week cruise. That's a made up thing. Nobody's doing it. That's why I picked it. I don't think anybody can go on cruises yet, but say you say yes to going on a cruise. There's a lot of reasons to say yes to that: fun, family, vacay, relaxation. What are you saying no to? Okay, well, what you're saying no to might be, making progress on your weight loss goals for the next 2 weeks. It might be saying no to your work obligations. It might be saying no to, being home at your house to do X, Y, and Z, or working in your yard, or finishing that project. When you say yes to something, you by default say no to something else. So if you say, okay, well, I'm going to say yes to staying late for work today. They asked me, could I stay late? I'm saying yes. What are you saying no to? Well, I'm saying no to getting that workout in, because that was the time that I had to do it, or to prep dinner. So I'm making this decision knowing I have to, but I see what's happening here. By saying yes to staying late for work, I'm saying no to this. If I say, yes, I'm going to work out this weekend. If I say yes to, I'm going to get up Saturday and Sunday and get workout in, what am I going to say no to? Well, I might say no to having a couple glasses of wine on Friday night, because I don't want to feel like poop on Saturday morning when I go to the gym. I might say no to staying up late on Netflix, because I'm going to say yes to getting my walk in the morning. And so when we do this, again, it's not about having some kind of somebody telling you what you can and can't do. It's about empowering you to say, if I'm saying yes to making progress on my weight loss goals this week, or getting stronger this week, if I'm saying yes to that, then what do I need to say no to? They always go together. And a lot of times we just want to say yes to everything. And that's just not how it works. We have to understand that as we make choices, there are always the things that go with that. And a lot of times a choice could also be not making a choice or not doing anything. So that's still a choice. Like inaction is something. So if you're saying yes to inaction, what are you saying no to? And so it's just a way to think about these different boundaries that are different for each of you as you each work on your goals. And a lot of people do have weight loss goals. One of the things that I know can really be self-defeating is when we feel super restricted, or we feel like somebody else has told me I can't have this, because that only works for a little while. what works in the long term is when we feel empowered over the choices that we're making and we understand them. And so if you know, it's just about approaching each one without judgment per se, and saying like, I get it. I am going to, if I say yes to, we can play this game all night. You can fill in the blank with what works for you. And so that's kind of my prompt for you tonight. And I'd love to open it up and talk about it is, what are you saying yes to? And then by default, what does that mean that you're saying no to? And if you're not sure, then just apply it to your goals. Because last week we talked about, what are you changing? You must got to be changing something in order to make progress. Because if nothing changes, then nothing changes. So if you pick something that you're changing, so say you're saying yes to getting in more movement, then what are you saying no to? Have some clarity around what used to fill that time, and now you're putting in extra movement. Or if you're like, I'm going to say yes to having less sugar, then what are you saying no to? Well, I'm going to say no to the extra candy on my coworker's desk, because that's not what I said. I'm saying yes to having less sugar. So let me know your thoughts on this. Have you ever thought of this as it applies to, your body goals, your mindset goals, your weight loss goals? Do you have one in your mind already that applies to you?
Maybe I'm doing this wrong, but for me, I was thinking from like August to probably late November, December of last year, I was saying yes to a lot of things. Like, yes, I can do that odd job for you. Yes, I'm going to teach piano lessons. Yes, I'm homeschooling my kids. Yes, 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 yes. And it essentially became like no to myself. Like, no, I'm not sleeping well. No, I'm not working out as much as I used to. No, I'm not eating well because I don't want to take the time to make plates because I'm tired. And what ended up happening was like no to my mental health. And I just kind of like, I ended up in therapy, really. But that was my first like healthy no. Like, nope, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to go talk to somebody and quit stressing out. And then I was like, nope, I can't do that job anymore because I need time to teach my kids. So I don't know if that's doing it the right way.
That's exactly it, Hannah. That's 100% it. It's 100% it, because you actually said yes to a lot of things that are like solid, helpful, nice things that don't seem to have negative consequences. But then when you apply them to what you had to say no to, it did have a consequence for you. And then like weighing it out, you went back and said no to some of those things because you needed to. No, that was a perfect example, Hannah. That's really perfect.
I'm really glad she mentioned that, actually, because our situation this last year, we became caregivers for my mother-in-law. That was she had an extreme medical emergency, and we were completely consumed with her needs. We had to live at her house for 9 months, and everything that I had been trying to do for myself for the last 4 years just flew out the window. So I started therapy too, because I started having panic attacks in the middle of the day because I just couldn't take it anymore. And like, I could do like my normal everyday stuff, but anything extra was like, it threw me for a loop. So one of the ways I started to say yes, like Hannah, I started to see a counselor, but then also another yes was joining this group.
Mm-hmm. I think you are one of many people who put those layers together, who need like multiple support systems. And so thanks for sharing that. Sometimes when life throws you an unexpected thing that you have to say yes to, then it's an important moment to evaluate what we need to say no to, And that's like one of those examples. Anyone else have thoughts?
Yeah, Christy, I'm right with Angie on the mental health and Hannah too. I started getting myself counseling because I was getting stressed out, and I've always, well, I won't say always, but it seems like for quite a while I've not done a good job of managing my stress and letting it get to me and fester. And so, yeah. And I've been saying yes to sleep and no to staying up late.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually said yes to sleep and no to getting as much movement in as I was getting this past summer, because I was not getting my sleep, and I also was not eating enough. So I just said, all right, yes, I'm going to eat. No, I'm not going to move as much.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for sharing that, Kristen. Yeah, it's, you know, part of obviously one of our biggest values in Fitme, we have 3 values: realness and connection and resiliency. But that realness factor means that we can talk about stuff that you really don't hear talked about in many places. And one of those things is just kind of normalizing using counseling as a support in your life, or therapy, and how helpful and effective that can be. And a lot of places don't really talk about that. And it's nice that that can be a really supportive layer. And to be honest, in the coaching, you know, as your Fitme team like collaborates on coaching, but just in the relationships that I have with other coaches, I've seen quite a bit of fallout from just this past year as being a tough year. And so it's a season where, you know, you may need more than one support layer. And it's great to bring that in. And so I'm really glad you shared that. And thanks for being open about it, because again, it gives people permission who may never have considered it before as a potential option of something that can be really helpful. So another way to think about this say yes and no isn't just when things are hard or when we're like facing a challenge. It can actually be when we feel really good and we take on too much. And so I've also seen that sometimes we're like, I'm going to say yes to weight loss. I'm going to say yes to like doing the hardest strength program ever. I'm going to say yes to this new position at work. And I'm going to say yes to, you know, training for a marathon or my first 5K. And we get in this place where we really haven't evaluated, if I say yes to this, what should I say no to make this work? I've told you guys before a handful of times, but I am a huge, huge fan of the book Essentialism. If you have not read it, I strongly recommend it. It's by Greg McGowan. It's Essentialism. I think it's subtitled The Disciplined Art of Less But Better, or The Disciplined Art of Saying No, something to that effect. But it's excellent. It's a good audiobook too, if you're an audiobook person.
I have something to add.
Yeah.
And good to see you. So my goal that I'm focusing on is weight loss as well. And it was recently my birthday last week. So I kind of like cut myself some slack. But this week I told myself, you know, no to any more birthday cake, because I had my, you know, birthday week, I guess you would say. So this is like a fresh start for my for my week. And I'm going to tell myself no and get my protein in and do all that stuff. So
I like it. I think too, it's really empowering when we choose our treats. Like you have your birthday and you just can enjoy it and just be there for it. It's something you want to celebrate, and then feel like after that, you again are choosing to, I'm going to say no to the rest of that cake. Because I want to say yes to feeling like I don't need sugar all the time. And so like, I think that's a really, really good example of feeling like happy to enjoy a treat, and then also feeling like, you know what, now I'm going to say no. And a lot of times when we are saying no to something that can be like yummy or easy or comforting. When we're saying no to that, it's because we're saying yes to something that's also good, but it's helpful to say that out loud. I'm saying no to this, like, this sugar that I really love, because I'm saying yes to having this. Or I'm saying no to like chilling on the couch, even though that sounds awesome, but I'm going to say yes to this. And again, it feels different when you put it that way, because then you're not like, oh, I got to, I have to. No, you're choosing to.
Yeah, and I can kind of add to that, Christy. I'm doing more so like a gut reset and balancing hormones. And so I had to eliminate a lot of food. Like I threw a lot of food away because it was all like super high inflammatory stuff for me specifically. So it was hard because some of my favorite stuff is chicken. And that was literally the one that had the highest, inflammatory response, which is hard throwing out some of my favorite foods. But since doing it, I felt a lot better. And it's become easier to say no, or say no.
Yeah, a couple of people are doing elimination diets right now to get rid of inflammation. And that's another really good example, because it can feel really restrictive to have whole categories of food that you're trying to avoid. So if you're saying no to those, it's really great to identify what you're saying yes to. Who else has thoughts? Is anybody else like kind of like Hannah and like often says yes to the requests of like people around them so that they try to help out, and you end up taking on a lot of things outside of what you planned? Is anybody else kind of like that?
No.
Who said no? I can't even tell who that was.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I might be unmuted. I didn't know. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's Maritza. I'm
Hey,
driving.
girl.
So I think like I had a phase before I joined Fitme where I was just saying yes to all of the fast food, all of the like chocolate, cookies. So it's kind of like the opposite. I'm not saying yes to giving and like being there for other people, but it was like more, I was saying yes to giving in to any cravings that I had really. And I feel like I had to go through that period because like from lifting competitively and tracking all of my food and doing macros and things like that, I was like, you know what, I'm going to lean into this and say yes to all the things that I'm wanting. But eventually it was like, okay, I'm ready. Like I'm done with that and I'm ready to say no to it. But on the other side, I think it's really helpful to think about saying yes to like, well, I'm saying yes to drinking my water. So then I'm more satisfied and I am not hungry, or I don't end up drinking sodas or other things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Maritza. It's good to hear your voice. I think just knowing, again, we like to think that we can sort of float around and be everywhere, but by default, when we're saying yes, or we're just saying like, I don't care, I'm just going to go with it, which is by default like yes, then there is something that we're saying no to. Also time. You can apply this to time. I know we talked about just having it be like an obligation, but if you think about just your day as being, a certain set amount of time, it helps to frame it this way, because you only have a certain amount of time. You can't be everywhere. And so when you commit to something, you're able to follow through and know that, yeah, I've said yes to this and I've thought it through. I know what I'm saying no to. I know, what I'm not going to be able to do right now with my time. And that's also a helpful way to not feel, I know a lot of people, and I've certainly felt like this, is sometimes you just have like a never ending day where like you'll never ever finish. And so that's, I mean, I think that can be like a season of life, but it also can just be from sort of not having ownership over the things you're saying yes to. Just everything is supposed to fit in this day. And it's helpful to define what you've chosen to fit in that day. Because, you know, even just taking time to be present with your family, I think if that's something that we say that we're prioritizing, and I know a handful of people have that as one of their goals right now, is to be more present with their family. Well, then it's helpful to define that. I'm going to say yes to spending an hour, you know, doing X, Y, and Z with the kids or the people tonight. And so then by default, I'm saying no to getting ahead on whatever. And then we just know where we're at. I'm not gonna get ahead today on laundry or on those extra emails or whatever, but I'm saying yes to this. And again, it fits in that time. Then there's no regret or feeling I didn't get it done. Awesome, guys. So your target is to have this discussion with your coach. If there's something obvious in your mind right now, that's this yes, no paradox, then share that with your coach. If you're like, I don't even know, that's okay. Reach out to your coach and talk about this specific thing. And again, if you're not sure, relate it to your goal. So we've been building each week on what your goal is. And if you need to frame it exactly about that, then do that. And last week, again, you picked something that's different right now, something that's changing. And so you should be able to even build right off of that and know, okay, well, if I'm changing this, then what did I say yes to? What did I say no to? Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm going to take a picture. I have to take 2 pictures because we got a double screen. So hang on a second. All right. Picture number 1. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to do one more. And then 1, 2, 3. All right, guys, it's great to see your faces. I will see you all on the live training on Wednesday on All or Nothing. And have a wonderful week. Talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Missy Lauren.
Bye.